Why would you ruin a perfectly good door? Actually, I think that sums up this episode quite nicely. I'm Mediocrity4, and this is my review for RWBY Volume 5, Episode 6. If you haven't seen the episode yet, you may want to before watching this review. If last week was like a bad early episode of RWBY, this was like a good early episode of RWBY. They didn't stick the landing, they didn't hit the point home as well as they needed to. Only one thing really happened, but it's an important one thing, and for what it's worth, I'm more excited to see how things go from here than I was last week. The crow stuff was surprisingly effective. It's a rule of thumb that shows better than tell in a visual medium, but this show is way better at telling us how dangerous Remnant is than actually showing us. The facial animations as Crow realizes all his friends are dead and breaks it to the bartender are top-notch, even more so when one of their daughters asks her father if Crow knows where her mom is. And this brings me to my big gripe with this episode. Guys, forgo the formalities, piss away the pretense, and actually come out and say it. Ozpin, this Ozpin, is directly responsible for the death of Summer Rose and everyone knows it. Beating around the bush this far in is why I stopped caring about Jean's semblance and why I never cared about Velvet's box. Don't make me stop caring about the entire reason I started actually liking the show. And so Raven has actually been responsible for my grievance for once. I'm so glad this didn't turn out like a much needed talk, but you shouldn't overly praise something for not screwing up twice. Don't reward the 5-year-old for not shitting the bed 2 nights in a row, and I'm not sure where this analogy is going. Point is, hopefully it was a lesson learned, but not like the Volume 3 episode, even though that was when Crow pulled out the picture and Weiss was learning about how broken her semblance is. Wow, this train of thought went nowhere, but neither did Necessary Sacrifice. It's at this point in the script that I realized that plenty actually did happen in this episode, and so for my joke to make sense, I had to reiterate that the previous episode is still a dumpster fire. Segways are nice, but I'd prefer to fly. And in what reality is flying not cool? Giving people the ability to turn into birds is apparently something Ozpin can do. The whole bird thing was never not going to be dumb because of the campfire speech episode, but now we're just pulling magical BS like this instead of linking it to semblance or dust. Can I reiterate that the world building in the show is balls? Like, it's approaching Dragon Ball levels of not giving a shit. So, Yang gets the Cliff Notes version. Magic rules, Ozpin drools, Salem is making everyone look like fools. But as we established last time on Dragon Ball Yang, she doesn't really care about that and is probably wondering what this has to do with RWBY. Aren't we all? So, strike 2 on explaining Silver-Eyed Warriors. Miss again and you get a free double Sunday. Either that or I'm going to punt that eventual episode into the freaking sun. I also like how Weiss is just sort of fine with it, but given her semblance, she can probably buy a lot of it.
You didn't believe what she said, right?
Well, my semblance can do like 10 different things, so it's not unbelievable that someone can have a semblance that cheats death. In fact, I'm sure there's tons of books about stuff like that. The reunion was effective. It was another wholesome reunion. It was also a more effective version of RWBY's speech at the end of last volume, but if we waited until last episode and now, it would have been long overdue. So think of the letter writing scene as a temp tag you get on a car, and this scene was RWBY's development since Volume 3 becoming fully licensed. I actually quite like this episode. You can't really crap on a show for not giving enough, unless what they're taking away is crucial for the entire story and characters. Oscar! It's fine. This is fine. RWBY is finally united with all her non-dead friends. But what about Blake? All her non-dead friends. I'm Mediocrity4. Thanks for watching.